When I first saw the trailer for Age of Empires 4, I was genuinely excited. It looked like the series was finally returning to the medieval era, with a focus on epic sieges, massive castles, and slower, more defensive gameplay. But oh boy, was I wrong. If anything, Age of Empires 4 feels like a faster version of Age of Empires 2. Defensive structures feel less like part of a grand castle, and more like tools for protecting villages and controlling parts of the map. Now don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the game, and I still play it regular, but I just can't help feeling like it could have gone in a very different direction. It could have borrowed ideas from another iconic RTS series, Stronghold, and given us something truly special. Instead, it feels like Relic in partnership with World Edge played it safe, bringing back one of the biggest RTS franchises of all time after 15 years and sticking very closely to what already worked. And honestly, I can't blame them too much. It was a huge task. But today, I want to talk about the ideas I really wish Age of Empires 4 had stolen from Stronghold. With a return to the medieval era, I thought we'd see a massive focus on the most iconic structure in medieval history, the castle. But instead, what we got is just the same as the castle or fortress we saw in Age of Empires 2 and 3. The castle is basically boiled down to one structure, a keep, with upgrades like cannons, boiling oil, and ballistas. They're still just defensive structures used to protect your base or control space on the map, basically a very strong tower. Once you hit the Imperial Age, they become almost irrelevant. Trebuchets and cannons just steamroll everything from a distance. Now yes, that's historically accurate. Gunpowder did mark the decline of castles, but from a gameplay perspective, it makes them feel weak and disposable. And that same issue carries over to walls and towers. Sure, you can now place units on walls for the first time in the series, which provides a defensive and range buff. And you get one defensive building, wall towers, which fire on opponents. But overall, walls feel underdeveloped, and siege mechanics feel simplistic. They remind me of one of my favourite RTS games, the Battle for Middle-earth 2, but with far fewer options. And that's a game that is nearly 20 years old. Construction-wise, they offer very little flexibility. There are no mounted siege weapons on walls, no real defensive depth. At best, walls just slow your opponent down, requiring either siege towers, battering rams, or ranged siege units to break through. But there's no laddermen, mantlets, and overall siege mechanics just feel very limited. Now compare that to Stronghold. In Stronghold, you're not just placing buildings, you're designing a castle. Imagine if Age of Empires 4 had leaned fully into that idea. Multi-layered walls, towers that hold large garrisons, siege weapons mounted on walls, moats, traps and drawbridges, mantlets for both attacking and defending units. Suddenly sieges aren't just build trebuchet and attack, they become battles of positioning, planning and attrition.
The enemy are destroying our buildings!
That's the medieval experience the game should have delivered, and you can actually see hints that was the original plan. A comment on my previous video, ideas Stronghold should steal from Age of Empires from Dark Ranger, really address this point. And honestly, it makes sense. With new features like units on walls, commands like stake placement for English bowmen, and simplistic siege mechanics, it feels like the foundation was there, but somewhere along the way, the game shifted direction, towards something faster, more competitive, and safer for the series. This brings me to the next big issue, unit counts. In Age of Empires 4 they're capped at 200 population, and for a medieval warfare game that just feels small, especially when around half of that is your economy. So basically you're fighting battles with maybe 100 units, if that. Compare that to Age of Empires 2 with up to 500 population in multiplayer, and up to 1000 in single player, with the cheat code my CPU can handle it.
Raiding party!
And Stronghold 1 and Stronghold Crusader DE pushing thousands of units, with Crusader going up to a staggering 10,000. That scale matters. It makes battles feel like battles. In Age of Empires 4, fights can feel like skirmishes. This issue is nowhere more pronounced than in the Endless mode in the Crucible mode for the latest DLC, Dynasties of the East, where the player must survive wave after wave of enemy attack, where instead of armies just getting progressively larger as each stage passes, AI units get progressively better health and attack, instead to increase the challenge to the player. To top it all off, they even got rid of walls in this mode. That's right, no walls, just towers and keeps in a medieval game about surviving wave after wave of attack.
You serious?
Let that sink in. The mode honestly feels closer to Company of Heroes than Age of Empires or Stronghold. Now I get it, Relic make Company of Heroes, but this is medieval warfare. This should be about castles and sieges. If the Crucible mode had higher unit counts and proper siege warfare, it could have been incredible. Something more akin to invasion mode in Stronghold, where you defend your castle and lord from wave after wave of attack. Another thing that's completely missing is personality. In Age of Empires 3, AI had real identities. You had AI such as Queen Elizabeth, Napoleon, George Washington, and Frederick the Great. They taunted you, reacted to you, and made matches feel alive. Stronghold has always done this brilliantly. Each AI lord has a distinct personality that often matches their strategy and memorable voice lines. The angry caliph uses fire and aggression. The snarling wolf is brutal and overwhelming.
I will tear down your castle. Stone by stone if I have to, but I will have your head.
And the Duke is snobbish and spoiled.
You will kneel, peasant, before your lord and master.
They feel different. In Age of Empires 4, the AI is just a civ. No personality, no taunts. Even with civs like Joan of Arc and the House of Lancaster, there's no character behind them. No Joan of Arc or Henry V, other than in campaigns. And that's such a missed opportunity.
You make me sad.
Because personality adds so much life to RTS games, especially in single player, where the taunts breathe some personality into matches against AI, and just give skirmishes a lively feel, similar to multiplayer. Now let's talk about what I wish Age of Empires 4 had stolen from the campaigns. Stronghold's campaigns are primarily story driven and character focused. They take creative liberties with history to tell engaging stories, with over the top characters and iconic cutscenes. Whether it's the fireplace briefings in Stronghold 1 or the in-engine cutscenes in Stronghold 2, they stick with you. Age of Empires 4 goes in the complete opposite direction. It leans heavily into historical accuracy. Campaigns feel like documentaries, almost like something from the Discovery Channel.
In 1480, Moscow's army, led by Ivan III, faced off against the Mongols across the banks of the Ugra River. But the Muscovites, armed with guns, were too much for the Mongol army. When the Mongols realized reinforcements weren't coming, they retreated. Now Ivan III was free to pursue his ambitions to expand Moscow even further.
And to be fair, they're fantastic for learning history. That's part of what makes the series special in the first place. But for me, they lack that charm, that personality, that sense of fun and narrative engagement that Stronghold delivers. Interestingly, Age of Empires 3 actually lean more into that style, with more character-driven storytelling and personality, and they are actually my favourite campaigns in the series. And I honestly wish Age of Empires 4 had continued in that direction, instead of pulling back. And when you put it all together, a pattern starts to emerge. Age of Empires 4 plays it safe. It modernises a proven formula. It focuses on balance, competitive play, accessibility. And that works, but it also holds the game back from fully embracing what makes the medieval setting special. Because this era isn't just about economic management and unit counters. It's about sieges, castles, scale, and survival. And that's where Stronghold has always stood out. It leans into those ideas completely, even when it doesn't always get things right.
You will be next, boy.
For me, Age of Empires 4 feels like a missed opportunity. Like it could have been more than just a modern Age of Empires game. It could have been the ultimate medieval RTS. The game where castles truly matter, where sieges felt brutal, where scale and strategy came together to create something unforgettable. Instead, we got something familiar, something safe, something that plays well with fun gameplay and fantastic sound effects, but never quite reaches its full potential. So what do you think? What features would you have liked to see? And do you think the series should move in this direction in the future? Let me know in the comments, check out the Discord in the description, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Stronghold content. Thanks for watching.